So I'm also going to share with you one video. She was supposed to be with us. She's from Korea. And listen to her message. Hang on. Let me check the audio. All right. So meet my other student, Chandra.
Hi, I'm Chandra. I took Cecilia's cross-cultural communication lecture in my second semester. And I'd like to share my personal experience and thought of how this lecture helped me with my perceptional values and drivers to one's culture and importance of knowing the cultural sensitivity. With the use of global disc assessment and various kind of teamwork and my quest reflection, I learned how to communicate better and more effectively with other people. Also, this taught me the cultural understanding of the world in depth. Our cultural understanding of the world ultimately affects our styles of communication as we start picking up the ways of one's culture. Therefore, I think being able to know about the cultural communication is very necessary in order to avoid misunderstanding that can lead to conflict between individuals and groups. Also, we prepared a marketing advertisement for car that will be appealing to our target market. We took it as a business presentation, and it was very interesting and helpful to do the research and design our car ad with our assigned country and its culture. And it was a great opportunity for all of us to deeply know about other nations' culture and their consumer trait or preferences. Most interestingly, we did not know until the end of our project, but actually our teams were all teamed up with people who have the same types of personality from the global disc. It was great to collaborate with them, and we could improve our teamwork by understanding each of our culture and respect each other. Besides, this global disc and my quest reflection have shown me that actually most of people in company are having problems due to the clash of their cultural background, values, personalities, and leadership challenges. And I learned that this is because of the lack of cultural intelligence. This global disc and quest revealed and specified how to bridge the gap between my intention and cultural impact on others by being able to see the situation from different kind of angles and respond in a more idealistic and optimal way rather than just reacting without knowing anything about it. This global disc model will be a big stepstone for my future life when I work as a team leader for my future company, since I learned the diversity of people's personality. And I'm truly thankful to Miss Cecilia for giving us this precious lecture and project. And once again, this global disc helped me a lot to learn the behavioral flexibility of each personality and become more open-minded person. Thank you.
So that's Chandra. Now, of course, when we talk about impact, I would prefer that you hear it from them in person. So I have two students, and I'm so grateful for their time that they joined us tonight. I have Davide of Italy, and also Leonidas Atzua of Germany. And tonight, you will also have a chance to hear my leader in Donghua University, no other than Miss Ilinga. She has been my partner in learning since I started in Donghua, actually. So we've been working together for about how many years now? All right. And of course, our project will not be possible if the founder himself was not willing to partner with us. So another partner in learning is my mentor in Global Disc, no other than Mr. Chava. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I would like us to hear directly from them. And you can ask questions after I completed the presentation. So after hearing a word from our four precious participants and guests tonight, I'm going to share again the screen to answer the third question. How can we be part of this transformation? So Cinto, I'm going to stop sharing now, and let's call Mr. Davide to share with us
Yeah.
Would you like to share with us something about your experience in Global Disc?
Yes, sure. So, hello everybody. First thing, I'm not a student of Cecilia at Donghua University. I have met her in another program at Jiaotong for finding out that, oh, cool, she teach in the same building where I take lesson. And her her program, her way of teaching cross-cultural communication immediately catch my attention, because unlike I think many of her students, I was not straight from high school to university. I had 6 years of experience, and I have discovered about China in these 6 years of experience. So after deciding to finally move to Shanghai, I already had a successful experience in dealing with a Chinese colleague. In my experience, I've been able to reduce the gap between the headquarters, the IT department of the headquarters of the company where I was working, because I was part of it, and the colleagues in the Chinese venue in Shenzhen. I have been able to establish a communication to make Chinese colleagues to express their concern, to ask if they have any problem, and to also to propose some solution. So when moving to Shanghai, I was really confident and say, I already have a successful story with Chinese colleagues. I will avoid all the headache that many expect ever when dealing with Chinese. Actually, with the Chinese, that was true. But really soon, I had to realize that I was not immune to this cultural clash, because I had a really hard time dealing with my classmates from Thailand and from South Korea. My approach was quite an Italian approach, quite basically I was super engaged and super determined to get out the best from any class, and I was trying to act in a way which, from my perception, was involving others. And I start having problem because I was getting frustrated by not getting the response I was expecting, by seeing my classmates disengaged. I was always trying to propose something new, but it was like when you crash against a bubble. So that was really, really frustrating. It also bring me to assume a more authoritarian behavior rather than authoritative, rather than trying in other way to make them follow me. So once I met Cecilia, I was also choosing the argument of my thesis, and I decided that this thesis would be about human resource, because during the last 2 years, I became really interested in human resource. I found that reading post of human resource consultant on LinkedIn made me realize that there are many companies where there is a gap in the communication between managers and employees, and when the business goes international, as you can imagine, this problem will increase exponentially. So my target was for this thesis is to create a better environment inside the international company in China. So Cecilia kept the occasion and told me and asked me, are you interested to get the global disc training? Because I knew about this training both from Cecilia and from another well-known practitioner in Shanghai, Mr. Gabor Holsch. I became really interested in try the assessment for myself. And so Cecilia gave me this opportunity. And the first thing that I can say is that the assessment has helped me to put all the pieces of my personality together. And once the first time I read the report of my assessment, my reaction was exactly like this. Because something after taking the time to absorb what I have read, then I started to realize that, yeah, our personality is not always in one color, based on the situation and on the environment. One of the color of our personality may emerge and others may hide. So when confronted, I was happy that I am quite balanced with the 4 personality type. I was surprised that the one of the personality I thought it was predominant, instead it is not. I was happy that in any case I'm quite balanced. So now the issue for me is that how to use this balance at my advantage and not as a boomerang. I also find while reading the report that the personality which emerged the most is by coincidence the type of personality which is more inclined to crash with personality of people from countries like Thailand and South Korea. So I remember I have texted Cecilia, oh my God, I have been so assertive with people who really value more collaboration even over result. So my feeling was they think that I am an a-hole. But at least this gave me a picture about why I was having struggle, and going back at the time about how was my character in that moment, I also was able to identify why in that moment, why in the past I have been able to succeed in creating a communication with my Chinese colleagues. So now the challenge became to use my knowledge at my advantage. And of course, I can tell anyone is not something which happens automatically. You putting in practice what we learn from the global DISC assessment and from the training need time, but the immediate advantage that I got from this training is that it was faster to me to identify when one of that personality is taking over me, especially when the D part, the dominance or drive part of my personality is taking me over. And when this happened, I've been not always, but many times able to take a deep breath and just reduce the pressure on me. The other benefit is that by thinking, I am quite a reflective person, a reflexive person. I've been able also to identify where all these part of my personality come from. And unfortunately, this is something that I told also to Cecilia. We talk a lot about this during my training. Many of the characteristics of my personality which create me problem is something that I have inherited from my parents, especially from my father. My father, who is a policeman, so you can imagine that his personality is more like what is his personality, more assertive, more do like this, and this is right because the law is like this. So I am right because I have put this law in the house. Of course, this outside, when you are outside the home, this doesn't work. And it is one error that I don't want to, that one day when I will be parent, I don't want to repeat, to emulate, is to educate by power, because the kids and also people will not quite fully understand why one rules is in that way. Of course, being assertive when it's needed, but I think that it's important that people realize, get sense about why there is a rule, why some behavior is considered as good and one behavior is considered as bad. And then the most hard part that I think for anyone is to have the self-discipline, forgive the example, because I'm not only with my parents, with my teachers, but also with my previous manager. I saw many of them falling in the trap of having this strategy, the way of thinking of do as I say, don't do as I do. This doesn't work. Fortunately, I also had experience of manager and teacher who inspired me by their behavior first, rather than telling me doing this way. So I strongly believe in the example. And this is my experience. I think that for anyone who works in education, understanding the personality of each student, knowing how to deal with him, and teach the student how to behave, how to respond, not react. One other problem with me is that I am quite reactive. So start understanding, realizing how can I respond, how can I bring home the result I want without causing side effect or too much side effect. This is something which will benefit me from. Also because one of my ambition is to work in the HR and more in the in the communication part of the HR, in the part where I would like to create a good environment where anyone feel heard, respected, when anyone is engaged. I have both tried the experience of going to work, being happy, of going there and going there because I am forced, and having a work that you dislike is something I don't wish to anyone. So in my vision, in my utopistic vision, is that any one of us goes to work with a vision, with a mission, and is fulfilled by his task. And for making this possible, you need to know how to communicate and how to listen, because you need also to be able to listen, to catch the real meaning of what your people are saying. So that's why I suggest Global Disc to anyone also in education, because it's better to learn these things before you hurt yourself and hurt others. You will avoid a lot of headache.
Davide, thank you very much. Thank you for the effort. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your self-awareness. You know, I'm kind of impressed. I'm already was thinking in how to bring you here to Thailand to talk with these leaderships that I'm trying to work. That they are kind of seniors. They call themselves seniors, as I said always.
One thing I want to make clear that, as you may have understood, I did not prepare any script. I'm talking by heart, because I think that when you talk by heart, you are the most sincere, because you don't have the time to prepare your script. When you talk by heart is when your real truth come out.
That's amazing, and we really appreciate, you know, as I'm telling you, from my perspective, from my side, I want to kind of appreciate your effort, and yeah, you talk from the inside out that this is how it works. Congratulations,
thank you,
and thank you very much. Maybe someone will have questions later,
okay?
Because now we have to introduce our other student. I would do it by myself. It's our friend Leonidas, Leo, who is from Germany. And I think that, Leo, you can unmute yourself. You do it already?
Yeah. I want to salute Leo, because we see each other in the campus, so we are also friends. And I'm also curious to hear how Global Disc has helped him, because we also had an exchange about this. So I'm quite curious. Now I mute myself.
Okay. Very good. Leo, go ahead. Say us how you're doing.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Leo, and I want to say first a few things about myself. So I grew up in Germany, but I grew up in a very multicultural setting already, because in my city we had a lot of immigrants, especially from Turkey and from Russia. So already from a young age, I would say I was exposed to multiculturalism and to different personality types, of course, and different worldviews. But it still changed a lot when I came to China and I saw, how much diversity exists on this world. Because before, of course, for us, these people were foreigner, but they were still close to us in a way. But when I came to China, everyone around me was very different. And So first in my third semester, I got into the course of Miss Cecilia with the CCC class. And this impacted a lot my stay here in China, because before I was also a bit overwhelmed by all the different people that lived with me and studied with me and interacted with me. But it was difficult for me to understand some behaviors and some forms of communication. I think also because in my case, I'm a very dominant C, as it turned out. And it happened also to be the most dominant behavioral style in Germany. So in my own home country, I was always in line with my surrounding culture and with the people there. But here, Chinese people are not like this, and my classmates are also not like this. So first when we started with the class and we started with the global DISC assessment, I realized how easy it is also to give these differences of people a structure. So with the global DISC, we have 4 different types of behavioral styles, and it made me a structure in my head, so I could understand how the differences are expressed and how they impact these people and myself. And later in the class, we also did a team project where the first project was where we all people with the same style were working together. And the second project was all people with a different style were working together. And this was very interesting because, of course, I noticed a huge difference between the teams, but I couldn't say that one was better than the other, because sometimes just because everyone thinks in the same way, some things come as a problem for the people, because some people think it has to be more extreme or less extreme. But when everyone is different, then we get a lot of input from different sides. So it's not about how extreme we do things, but what kind of approach we use in the first place. And this was very interesting for me. And I think I learned a lot from it, even though it was just some group project. But every time we talk to someone or we have an interaction, it's like being in a group. And we have to react to these different people and their different backgrounds. And this also was bettered by this text we had to write, the reflection on my quest, because I started to learn a lot about myself, and I realized behaviors of myself that I never really thought about. And then I also realized how other people do the same. So they have also a lot of behaviors, but they don't overthink it, they just do it. And these patterns of behavior were in a way eye-opening, because I had to get out of my comfort zone and I had to deal with myself to understand myself. And with this, I could also understand other people better. And this led to seeing myself and other people in a whole different light. And even now, my classmates and my friends in Shanghai, they are all from different countries and different backgrounds. But I can now understand their behavior better, and with this also tolerate it better. And I would also say that just because I understand and tolerate other behaviors, it doesn't mean I have to accept them for myself. So I don't have to be like them. And this was something I was thinking before. So if I accept this kind of behavior I don't agree with, it means that it's also that I have to do it for myself, but that's not true at all. So I learned this to differentiate a bit between people and myself, and what is acceptable for me and what is tolerable for me. So that's a difference. So yeah, all in all, I would say this whole class of Cecilia helped me a lot to find myself and understand other people, and not only work and study, but also be better friends with other people, thanks to understanding all this.
Very good. Thank you, to Leo. I know how difficult it is, especially when you are a C person. So I think that Davide already opened his camera and wants to tell you something, maybe.
No, it's just for, it's just in case that you would like to ask something more to us. But yes, I have also, there is also a C in my personality. So I know how can it be, especially for one person whose C is so dominant.
Very good. So thank you both, and probably people would make questions, and we have to introduce another person, and yeah, just it is really impressive your kind of kindness to share your experience with us, and I think that we have to learn a lot from you guys. Let me introduce the university partner in that case, right? Who is Miss Yilin Jie. I don't know if he's from somewhere.
You can call me here if you need. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you. I will put you in the spotlight now.
Thank you very much.
We can see you. Fantastic. So the question, let's say from the ICQ global perspective is, how do you, why you give this support to the global disk and the global quest and to Professor Cecilia to put on place the CCC concept?
To answer this question, I'll give you a little bit background of our programs. Our program is a very young program. It's an undergraduate program offered by a Chinese university, but taught in English and only for international students. So you see all those definitions. So we are not offering to Chinese students, but international students. When we have the idea to offer this program, because we realize that a lot of students have scaled the language of Chinese. So if they want to study in Chinese university, when they think of, I have to learn Chinese, they give up. That's why my former boss, she initiated the idea, let's have a program which is totally taught in English, but for foreigners, because it also provides some background knowledge about China, which as a Chinese people, we don't need to learn, we know it already. So that's why we found this program more than 10 years ago. Actually, when we first found this program, we're not expecting a very diverse students group. We think the majority of students may from Asia. But surprisingly, our student group and faculty team become very diverse. Right now, we have a faculty team from over 10 countries. And we have a student group around 150 students from around 70 countries. So you can see how diverse it is. So maybe a class of 30, you may have students from 20 countries, including Asia, Europe, America, everywhere. So that creates a very interesting place for talking about this diversity, cross-cultural communication. And I still remember when the program just founded, this misunderstanding always makes me headache, because the students will complain about teachers. One group said, I love this teacher, he's such a great teacher. And another group will say, oh, I hate this teacher because he has a stereotype of blah, blah, blah. And the students will, have all kinds of misunderstanding. So personally, I'm also study in business, and also I used to study in organizational behavior. So I understand that the what Cecilia mentioned, like the perceptions, those concepts. I understand cultural difference, the importance of those for students knowledge those concepts, which will help them, because I think that this program is a very good field for them to know how to work with people across the world before they go into the workplace. So they can make, mistakes in the school, but before they can experiment, and then which will help them a lot in the working place. So I start to, at that time I have the chance to meet Mariska. I think she's also in today's team. And she's a psychologist and a sociologist from the Netherlands. So basically after, we talk, and she helps us to build the cross-cultural communication course first. So that's how our program started to offering this course, because we think it's necessary for the future leaders according to the globalization of today's job market. And also, we have this very good environment to let students to try to explore those knowledges when they're still a student, so that, Cecilia also mentioned about gaps. So between the employer and the expectation of employer and the students. So we think if they can learn that when they are students, and after they go to the work market, they don't need to worry, how can I cooperate with my partners from different countries, which actually turns out to be true, because currently a lot of the students, they graduated, they got very good jobs, and they adapt very well, and all of them working in those multinational companies or different countries. It means this cross-cultural communication teaches them how to have this sense of culture difference is very important. Well, back to the story, we initially have this cross-cultural communication course offered by Mariska. Unfortunately, Mariska has her own business back in the Netherlands, so later we are looking for a new teacher to continue to offer to teaching this course. At this time, 2 or 3 years, I forgot. It goes. Cecilia, volunteer, said, I want to try. I want to be the teacher to teaching of cross-cultural communication. Well, I know Cecilia for almost more than 10 years. So from the beginning of this program, I know she has very rich experience in dealing with these cultural issues, and she lived in China for many years. And also, she actually provided consultation for students as well. So I think, and I believe that she has so good knowledge, enough knowledge to teach students about these culture issues. So I discussed with her, and I invite. I discussed with Mariska as well. So Mariska became the first mentor of Cecilia, and then Cecilia take over this cross-cultural communication course. And then later, she come to me and said, oh, she found this ICQ Global, it's very nice tools. She took it, she got training, so she would like to offer it to our program. For me, I'm an adventurer. I would like to try new things a lot. And I think this is a very interesting tool, because when Korea is talking about personality and culture difference, we're talking about separately. Personality is personality. We have the culture difference, by culture difference, we offer it in separate, but this combines personality and cultural difference, I think it's interesting. Then I said, well, go ahead. So that's how the story goes. And from the students' testimonials, we can see, it's a very good trial. It's a successful trial to have students to learn the cultural difference through ICT group.
Very good. So thank you very much. And so when is next? We are going to do more. That's the question generally that we have, right? So it will be. Do you think that is successful? It creates impact to the students, right?
Yeah,
definitely.
I think definitely believe it's necessary. It's a necessary skill students have to learn is increase their culture sensitivities, and for the future labor market, it's a must skills, soft skills. So and like I said, from the my personal feelings, I feel like a student is easy to communicate. When they first arrived at the university, somehow they were more self-centered. Oh, in my country, we're not doing like this, or those kind of things. But after the learning, they start to stand in others. Start to understand the culture difference, so make it easier to communicate. And also from our students, their their currently job, career. I also feel, because they have very good, sense of cultures and able to doing well in this global environment. So they are doing very well in their career at this moment, majority of our students.
Yeah. Is it possible for me to say something and to add something?
Sure.
This is Mariska, by the way.
How are you, Mariska?
Mariska, how are you?
I'm fine.
Glad to hear you.
I've been listening to the whole seminar. Unfortunately, my camera's broke, so but it will be fixed in the future. I would just like to add that in the 3 years that I've been teaching at Donghua University, and many of the problems also, of course, exist within the students, the international students, as they come from so many different cultures. One of the challenges also was to make them work in group projects in which they had to come out of their comfort zone and use a mixed variety of cultures to establish a project that they had to do together. And that in itself already also showed how much sensitivity it takes between students to work together. And I think that is also part of a program that is actually working out for the better, because they learn in a very early stage how to deal with cultural diversity. I think what Cecilia has been presenting is really great. She really has taken the program into a next level. And also what I'd like to say, because I'm sorry, I have to leave a little bit soon. What I also like to say is that I think it's very important to have starting cultural programs. I am myself a cultural anthropologist with a specialization in psychology, so I'm not really a psychologist. To start at lower schools, because the training should start in the beginning. We are not in a bubble of separate cultures anymore. So we can work at universities, but actually on middle schools or even, I would say, kindergarten, cultural training is at least as important. And this is what we see, for instance, in Amsterdam, as there is at a very early age already a separation between cultures in the choice of school, in which actually richer people put their children in schools that are mainly of their own culture. And of course, poor people actually use public schools. And it is a strong separation that continues usually after the school period. So I think that the cross-cultural training needs to be incented in a very, very early age, but it also is a sort of an education model that needs to be part of society, because society in itself has a tendency to create strong walls between the diverse cultural groups. So basically that is my comments for now. Society as a whole is of course bigger than what we can accomplish only by training. So I'm very sorry, but I have to leave. I have an event, a meeting later. But thank you so much, Cecilia, because I think it's very interesting what you do. And of course, I'd like to hear more about it. And also, I would like to try and evolve the University of Applied Sciences of Amsterdam, where I'm currently working now, to see if there can be more exchange between our two universities. Okay.
I'm really grateful you made it on this webinar, Dr. Mariska. Looking forward to see you.
Thank you. Yeah. And I do not believe I am your mentor, because you can really do very well without me.
Well, I didn't offer you, you just don't know that.
And Jiling, I'll see you soon again. Okay.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Can I make?
Thank you very much. So I will pass the ball to Cecilia, because I think that she has a question and she wants to introduce by surprise someone or to ask something. And meantime, guys, if you want to have a question, you can chat it. I will ask after, and because I know that it's a little bit late for someone. So just I pass you the ball, Cecilia. If you have questions, just chat. Use the chat. I will look at it. Okay.
Miss Iling, actually she's my friend and also my partner for a long time in Donghua. She was also able to observe the projects I have done for my students. Would you like to share a little bit about your last your observation in CCC? Remember the video project that they did? Is there any impact on you when they interviewed some managerial positions? They interviewed managers, remember?
I remember they trying to interview those managers, especially those managers, even though some of them may working in China, but they still working with global employees from different countries. So yeah, I'm quite impressed because they asked me very decent questions, and also the questions, the answers from those managers also tells how those leaders, when they're leading a group with people from different countries, how they deal with the cultural difference to make sure a team really working as a team, not as individuals. Yeah, I still remember that, and I'm very impressed. That interview included Chinese managers and foreign managers who've been working in China years or working overseas.
Okay, thank you so much, Iling. So I would like to call Chaba, Mr. Chaba Toth. He's our partner here. So Chaba, I hope to share something because I invited you to be our partner in Donghua University. And I am so happy because you said yes to us. Would you like to share something? What made you say yes to this partnership? And what is your word for our participants tonight?
Well, this is a surprise, definitely. I was planning to have a bubble bath and watch the webinar from there, but I'm glad I didn't. That would be a really different conversation.
I weren't passionate about this. They surprise you.
Yeah, you definitely practice what you preach about, so let's get out of the comfort zone. So the reason why I said yes to this is because we have to invest in the future generation of leaders. Because I remember when I went to uni and officially everybody was really smart in their classroom. But when we had to do a project together, then we almost failed because we clashed so badly. And I thought that didn't make sense. We should be able to create synergy instead of clashing. So after that, when I lost my company because of this, then I wanted to find out what went wrong and how we could fix it. And I had to realize that when we talk about cultural intelligence, that's not about the statistically average national differences. That's a tiny, tiny fraction of that. But we have to start with ourselves because we don't understand ourselves. We need a license for pretty much everything except for
ourselves, which is not ideal. And that's the reason why we clash and we cannot work with others. So the more we understand ourselves and the more we understand others, the more synergy we can create, the less conflicts we have. And I think that's the key. And it's not about pointing out statistically average differences to widen the gap. No, it's about building a common ground first, and then we can learn to make the most of the differences. And that's why I was happy to hear the testimonials as well, that sometimes what's natural to you matched what was normal around you. And in other cases, it didn't. And that's the key. Just because we were born in a country doesn't mean that we are like that. Culture is what we are used to, not who we are. And the more we understand it, the better it is for everyone. So that's the reason.
All right, thank you, sir. So let's continue. So if you have questions and more inputs later, we're going to continue that after my few slides, right? So bear with me. Thank you so much. So let me now share the screen. So right now you have just met some of our participants, especially the two students, and of course, Miss Ilinga and Chaba. Now, the next question is, how would you like to shape our culture? How can you actually be part of this transformation? Mariska already mentioned this, but I just want to show you what I do as well, because I believe in that. Treating the problem, we have to treat the roots of the problem. So I believe in the community empowerment. So I've been doing some community services as well. And actually, since last week, I have mentioned this at the beginning, I've been providing trainings online. Zoom actually is part of the training I give to parents and to teachers, how to use Zoom, for example, as a powerful tool. And at the same time, I've been running parenting together with the principals in culture. In fact, we have participants tonight who are also from my training in the previous days. They're from China, and one of them is also a teacher from the Philippines. So this picture that you can see right now was my project last year in the Philippines. It's actually a church community, and you know, sometimes we have to strengthen the community by really speaking to their hearts and what is valuable to them. So I integrated culture and into these services that we do in church. And you can see a lot of family members there from different ages. It was actually fun because I believe if an empowered community will always make a difference. So we also encourage you, if you want to be part of this change, we have to volunteer, we have to be proactive and be part of the community. So in Shanghai in December last year, I also visited an international school in Shanghai, and then we organized parenting training. As you can see from the background, we are it's really an interesting activity that you can learn from the global disc. So I also taught them about the values and how can we work together as parents in developing an adoptive mindset to our children. And recently we also had another, and this was just like last Monday, where Sinto was actually was there. He participated. Thank you, Sinto, for being there. So we also extended this kind of online.
That's another surprise.
It's a good picture.
Out of the comfort zone, guys.
Yeah.
So briefly, Sinto, would you like to give us feedback on this about your observation?
Well, as I told you, I think that I told you in a private text that, well, it's kind of, there is something that money can pay, right? And what you are doing, there is no, it's priceless. There is, you know, someone was telling me, it looks like an angel, right? So yeah, you are kind of the ICQ angel of the group. And this is a beautiful thing of our group of people, right? Because we have many different backgrounds. There is a real diversity and inclusion. I'm a coach that I work with leadership and team coaching, and I'm partnering with Cecilia, who is a professor with incredible vision, and I really buy in the vision. I know that I'm an I person, and I really well, as someone say me many times, they say you are going to the golden, to the shiny object, and but this is a really shiny. This is a one that I want to collaborate. So I was quite impressed, and I was seeing even the people how you kind of tackle with them in a kind of, it looks like a very complex kind of a very complex thing when we are talking about cultural intelligence, and you make it easy with all the materials of ICQ and your magical touch, right? So just that's my feedback, just when is next and how can I help?
Thank you so much, Cinto. Expect more trainings with you and me in the future. I actually have a parent with us. She was able to participate on this one of the trainings in the community, and she messaged me she would like to say something as well. So Janet, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Cecilia. I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. Your turn.
Yeah, could you see me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Actually, I attended the 3-night Cecilia training about the role of parents and culture in developing an adaptive mindset. Actually, this topic is not new for me because, I'm a teacher in a Montessori school. So actually for my students, they are coming from different kind of culture in the country. So sometimes I need to work with different with my colleagues and students from different countries. So that's why I have to give training to myself, and also I need to give training to my parents. And my student parents. So sometimes at Cecilia's training said, actually we need to learn about a lot of tools to how to communicate with my children, my family members, and also with my students and my colleagues. So that's why I think this training is really important for me, and also for a lot of parents in China. So I think the connection and the belonging and the significance are so important. So I really impressed by this training, and I also recommend some of the parents and teachers to attend the parent training during the past 3 nights. So I think, I totally agree with Marika. Actually, this kind of training should be, I think we can start such kind of a training earlier. Maybe in the primary school, they already a different kind of their students can have such kind of a training. Yeah, I think challenge is a great opportunity to learn. Thank you, Cecilia.
Thank you too, Janet. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Now let's continue. So there are so many ways that we can make a difference in the community. And it's really powerful if you are working with everybody. So being part of the community also means showing really what sustainability means. So what you can see from this picture, maybe you're asking, so what is the connection of that to your presentation? So one of the one who takes care of this plantation, what you see is actually a banana plantation, and these are like little banana plants that you can see still uprooting on the ground. This is a project I partnered with in the community for the indigenous group. They have attended the role of culture in developing an adaptive mindset last summer. And there's a group, we call that the Higaonon tribe. They have attended, some of their community leaders attended. And at the same time, when I say equipping the community, it's not just about source of livelihood that we help them, but that is also empowering their mind. So this is what I mean. We show them what sustainability means. It's not just about planting and then selling and then gaining money, but it's all about the long term. What happens? What's the impact? What kind of life they're going to live? So this is one example, you can also partner with your community, especially for communities who are quite difficult to reach out to. If you're interested about our banana plantation, this is run by the Donghua tribe, the indigenous group. So I haven't been there. It's very far, but I am in touch with the community leaders and they are updating what's going on. So again, what is the best thing that we can do, the basic, the easiest, is to partner with schools. If you have a company, if you run any trainings, go out and reach out. So what you are going to watch now is about my student. His name is Tim Gal. And I do teach once in a while, to other primary schools. And I provide classes, short-term classes like debate, for example. And this is what I call smart thinking.
Hi, my name.
So you are going to listen to Tim Gal. Let me check the sound. All right. And let's hear what he thinks. Okay, hang on. I finished my presentation. There you go.
Hi, my name is Tim and I am 11 years old. Today, I have a question for you. Where do biases come from? Well, in my opinion, I think that biases come from limitation of knowledge. Once, I asked my brother a question. What do you think is the fastest car in the world? And can you guess what he said? He said it was a truck. He said that because he always buys trucks and never buys any other car models. Then I asked my parents the same question. My dad said it was the Camry Toyota, the same old white car we had for almost 10 years. And my mother said that it was a Ferrari. But from my point of view, I think it's a supersonic car. From one simple question and different answers, you can see why everyone has their different interpretation. The less we learn, the more biases we shall have. Cognitive biases are how we see and understand things. That is why everyone thinks differently. Smart thinking is important because if we believe everything that someone, he or she, tells us, the information that he or she said may be false. In readings, you may find a lot of biases, especially on the internet or even books. You can avoid too much biases if you think smart. You can argue in your mind whether it's right or wrong, finding answers before making your own decisions, and be ready to justify your actions. Smart thinking will help us make better choices, better judgment, and solve problems in many different ways. Remember, biases come from limitation of knowledge.
All right, so that is Tim, and that is his perspective. Of course, there's more to knowledge than that to have your different kinds of biases. So just like what I'm saying, there are many ways that we can help in that transformation. By looking at this picture, remember our students, they will be running the country soon. And my question for all of us who are adults, what kind of leaders we would like to lead our retirement years? Imagine that. And the future of the future of our next generation. So think about it. They're always part of a culture. And remember, it also takes a village to raise a child. So when we think of trainings, when we think of investment, please, I am appealing to all of you. Let's consider the roots. Let's consider every family. Let's think of every child. Because, you and me, we're always part of development of culture. So my last question, as you can see from the screen, is what kind of culture you would like to build with us now, not later, not tomorrow, but now. So I hope you have learned something from our presentation tonight or today or this afternoon. I don't know whatever is your time, but I really want us to work together. Personally, I am appealing to you to please consider the schools in your project. And if you have questions, we can start the question. I'm going to stop it now. The sharing, and Cynthia will take over to facilitate the questions.
Thank you very much, Cecilia. So the question that you already, I think, that answer with your slide and with your ability, it was how can I partner with you to develop all these kind of curriculum in Thailand?
So number one, I am willing to work collaboratively up close to anyone, just like you, Sinto, because usually what I do in curriculum development is I assess the needs, the time frame, and the resources available. And from there, we can work it out together and design the project or the curriculum itself. So just have to contact me and we can do it together.
Okay, thank you. I will do it, you know. Okay, we was having some before that. Anyone have a question? And you know, if you don't put it in the chat, just mute and make the question. But let's try to be a little bit organized. The thing is, I was Patty saying something that she said, sorry, you have to leave, but she taught in 2 sessions at Oxford Brookes University this week, one of the high-performance teams, and the other one was Cultural Intelligence Basics. Both very much enjoyed by attendees, but both very poorly attended, as thought students just don't think is relevant. And she was kind of disappointed. And I think that is what it was pointing out before, right? That if we don't go from the basis, is a kind of you know, non really properly understandable. I think that Chaba he was talking about different packaging. Chaba, what do you think about it?
Well, I think is that if we want to make a real impact, we have to make it personal and practical. If something is too generic or you don't think it's relevant to you, you're not going to pay attention. And the point is that once you mention the word culture or cultural intelligence, most people think about nationalities and not about themselves. So it doesn't feel personal enough. But if you ask them if they want to learn about a technique that would allow them to do much more, to achieve much more with the same amount of energy, or they want to save years of embarrassment and failures and frustration that they could avoid, then it's much more relevant. And technically, that's our job. We are in the business of saving years of failures for the people who are willing to learn from our mistakes. And I think that's pretty fulfilling. And that's the reason why we have to start with the students as well. But just because they need it, it doesn't mean they want it. And that's why the packaging is important. That's how I say it.
How we kind of we can say how we sell it, how we can implement, how can we explain it, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why when we do the webinars, the uncommon sense, then I think it's much more approachable and practical than the way we started years ago when we talked about measuring and leveraging personal and cultural differences. And people thought, what the hell is wrong with you? You know, it wasn't practical enough. But when you talk about cultural differences as clashes of common senses, and it means that you can achieve much more with the same amount of energy, it's a good deal.
Okay. Anyone have a question? Because if not, I will make just a question to someone who is not Cecilia. Because I was chatting before, I think it was with Linda from Dublin, if I'm not wrong. Because we have people, Renata and Janos, that I already know them, but if I'm not wrong, it was Linda. I was chatting with her. She's already in a college, and she was interested about the webinar, so I would like to have her input about that.
Hello?
Hello, Linda. Yes.
Yeah. So, what would you like to hear about?
What's your input about the webinar, and especially the last question, and what you see from the educational perspective?
Well, I think that if you look at higher education in Ireland, not just in Ireland, I think in the UK, for example, because I used to work for Donghua University in the UK. And obviously, I think on the university level, people all recognize the importance of intercultural competence, which is why, for example, my role in the College of Business is to provide intercultural support for all the faculty, staff, and students. However, I think it's similar. I think in particular with the students, I think the key thing is to really make them realize and understand the importance of, let's say, we could call them CQ, ICQ, or intercultural competence. In here, we call it intercultural competence. So I think the key thing is to sell the concept to them. So I agree with, sorry, what's his name? The founder. Sorry, I forgot.
Chaba,
yeah. So it's all about kind of, how to say, I really like it when he says that, is same amount of energy, but, you get a lot more and saving a lot of years of failure. And I think that's a very strong message. However, I think that because I've never come across ICQ before and I don't know how the assessment works, but I have tried cultural intelligence, which is quite popular, at least like in our business school. A lot of the faculty members are talking about it, and we're thinking, where do we want to use it, things like that. And I personally tried. I thought it's okay, but I still try to understand how they developed the assessment tool, because it is because in the university, we're strong, we're research-led university, and if we're going to take on board any assessment tool, we're very carefully looking at like the how the tool and assessment is developed. So we're actually looking at several possibilities. So which is why actually that's one of the main reasons why I participated today's webinar, sorry, is to try to understand a bit more about the tool. So I understand that a lot of people are very enthusiastic about it and the students really enjoyed it, but I'm actually hoping to understand a little bit more about the tool. I'm not sure whether that's the purpose of today's webinar, or maybe a private conversation is needed about this.
Yeah, I think that it would be great if you, because Chaba is quite close to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that if you guys can have a chat about that, and I think that is better. I would love to do it with you, Linda, because we was having the chat before. But I think that is better in your case, and even include Cecilia in this conversation.
Okay.
I think that it would be great, right?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And is this is there a community for ICQ? Like, do you have a mailing list? For example, do you have regular webinars, things like that?
Yes, sure. We have webinars of the Uncommon Sense, and we have this month, every month we have a webinar. It's called Global Disc in Action. Next month on the 26th, we will have one, and I can already announce that we will have role-playing applied with ICQ in global coaching and companies and families. It is incredible. It will be run by Lori. So this is one. But this is, you have even Kasia here, who can even contact you too, because she is the one who managed all these fantastic magic webinars that we do.
Okay, perfect. And I think it's always nice to talk to like-minded people. So I very much enjoy the presentations by the teachers, educators, and the students today. Yeah, thank you for organizing this.
Well, thank you to attend it and being interested.
Okay.
There's just one thing. There's a webinar on Monday, this Monday at 8 o'clock UK time.
Okay.
So we can learn more about it. And that's more about busting some of the urban legends of our field. And we talk about the challenges, the results, the solutions. So usually it takes around half an hour and there's Q&A.
Yeah.
But we can also catch up anytime. That's
perfect.
Okay.
When you say 8 o'clock, like 8 a.m. or p.m.?
AM.
AM, okay. And then how can I access to that?
I'll send you a link, the
Okay,
Eventbrite. Or I just post it here in the chat.
Perfect, yeah. Thank you. Okay.
So...
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Okay, I posted the link in the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Does anyone have a question? Because as you know, I'm a very kind of instigator and I have always questions for people.
Sounds like a threat.
Yeah, right. So okay. So if no one has a question, I would like to know the experience of or our friend Leo, or maybe with both, about the quest. What was the mission that it was more stressful? For Davide and Leo.
Yes. So about the quest with the different missions, I would say for me personally, one of the most stressful quests was when I had to ask, I don't remember exactly how many people, but I had to ask a certain amount of people about their hobbies and find the weirdest hobby out of all. And it was very difficult for me in this sense to just ask people, like random people for me, to tell me about something very personal and then also rate it in a sense. So to say, okay, for me, this is the weirdest, or
It was kind of really out of your comfort zone, right?
Yes, very.
Yeah. I can guarantee that Kasia and me, we do this in a daily basis because we are so that we understand how strong, how tough it's for you and how easy it's for us, right?
For us, it's easy peasy.
Easy peasy, every 3 minutes. Very good, thank you, Leo. And for you, Davide, what was the more uncomfortable?
Well, I have to say that I'm still in the first of the three parts of my quest. And the interesting thing is that 1 year ago, I took another similar quest, but it was for gaining more confidence. So when Cecilia gave me that one, I say, what? I have trained myself for being more confident, and now in less than 1 year, I have to retrain myself to not be as assertive as this. So until now, the one which took me more time to accomplish was to go to a random person and giving them a genuine compliment. Because not because I'm someone who do not appreciate others. Anyone who knows me know that I'm not like this. My concern was not to look creepy or look like what we in Italian in a really rude way we call an adulator, someone who is going there because also because in Italy when people who usually not prize come and prize you, it means that they need a favor. So this was putting me in a really uncomfortable way.
I got it. I'm from Spain, so more or less, I understand you. What you are talking very kind of, that is what he wants. ¿Qué cosa?
Exactly. Then I was thinking about the question about how to sell this to the students because of the poor attendance. The fact that I have the sensation that in Europe this all cross-cultural communication, everything about it is not that course maybe is sold in the right way, but is all other people selling this cross-cultural thing in a wrong way. I have the sensation, especially in Italy, but maybe also in Europe, that when you talk about cross-cultural, it's just like, well, be nice, be friend with each other, understand our traditions. This is wrong, and understand the tradition is just less than the point of iceberg. I will try to sell it while as a way, as a key for decoding other people's behavior, because as Cecilia emphasized, culture is just the middle layer, but what matters then is personality, and it is influenced by our beliefs and by our experience. I remember that now I consider myself also more open, but when I was in high school, I was more reserved, and I was finding really irritating when people wanted to force me to be more open, because Italian people are like this. They are usually open. They like jokes. They like that you show them expression. Why? In that period, especially, I had the sensation, I had my thought that I show my emotion and my expression to people who I want, who I care. So I will try to sell it as a as a way for understanding not culture but personality, to decode why we are more inclined to get along with some people rather than others, why some professions seem inspire us more than others. This will also help us to not lose some important notions. For example, one thing that I realized with one of my former professor in high school and one of my former manager, there are two sentences, each one told by one of them, which is I still remember those sentences because they was so powerful. What they told me was really good. For example, one of these was, if you don't learn to take decision on life, it will be life taking decision for you. And I find it really interesting, really inspiring. This is one of the sentences I always try to remember. The fact is that this person, he was not able to catch the attention of each other and of his people and other people. They will reject him because he has problem in the communication. He's not clear, or he prefer to speak in a authoritarian way. He's really easy that this person raise the voice. And I find that basically both this person and both the people who work with this person, they may lose a lot of people that a lot of good things that this person have to offer, because he doesn't know how to deliver it in an effective way.
Mm-hmm. You got it. That's a very good observation, and just awesome. And thank you, because it's really you guys, the ones who are need to teach us how can we improve to communicate, how to bring to you cultural intelligence, or how to package, as Chaba was saying before, right? Leo, what do you think about that?
Leo, you are silent.
Leo, you need to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Now you are here.
I would say, I think very similar to Davide, with the program being, especially useful to decode the personalities, and that this is maybe for young Europeans, this would be the most valuable part of it too, because I think in itself Europe is very multicultural. Even one country is pretty multicultural in itself, so we are always surrounded by culture, and at the same time surrounded by so many personalities. So and for most people, they deal with both things in their daily life, both different cultures and different personalities. But at the same time, I would say that many people, or at least I was like this, that I just think about my own culture, as the good culture, and then the others are different but not as it should be. And to change this mindset, I think it takes, to address it directly, it's problematic for many people because they feel attacked. But if we just try to learn about different personalities, then we will automatically learn about different cultures and about the understanding of other cultures and how to deal with them. And that's I think the most important part for many people.
That's great. That's great. Everything is a learning process, and we are the ones who learn from you guys.
One more thing that I would like to add about this. This is also another thing another thought that I have matured during the years. I felt that even if we in Europe especially, we have understood that there is a problem in preparing the new generation, because until now I have noticed that, I mean, also both in school, both in my previous company, that there are people when they are just employee, they complain about some behaviors or some decisions of their bosses, but when they gain the manager role, they repeat exactly the same errors. So I think that we know that there is this problem, but we don't know how to. It seems that people don't know how to fix it, because I also don't blame them, because if you only saw one way of doing something, how can you expect that you just from your mind that you have the solution? While getting the training of Global Disc and having a more understanding about how personality works, how different personality works, it will help you also identify what was upsetting you of your former boss and what errors you are making without even realizing. And I think that now, especially countries which are developing in Asia, they have an occasion. They have the occasion to skip this situation when they know there is something wrong, but they don't know how to fix it. And I hope that also more and more European countries and companies, they will start to look into this. They will seriously considering engagement. They will start to put people again in the center of everything.
We hope so, right?
Yeah.
That's really wise words, right? It's a voice to heard very, very strongly.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing it. So I don't know if someone have any question. It's already 2 hours. It's incredible. I just now take a look at the time, in which 2 hours and 18 minutes or something like that. So that means that when you have to look at the watch and you say what's going on, it's already 2 hours. So it means that the content was amazing, Cecilia. So really, really, thank you very much. I think that you can say something. If anyone have a question, please just jump on it. If not, please, Cecilia, just say something to close the webinar, and I have to appreciate everyone.
Do we have questions? Any more inputs? I think we have had enough. So first and foremost, I would like to thank Global Disc for organizing this, for hosting this one. And of course, my Donghua University family who are here. Amazing. So Iling, Davide, Leo, and of course the parents from China who also joined after our 3 nights of long sessions as well. It's like we had like 1 week, complete straight week all together. So I have Janet and also Beth, who's also here, and of course other participants. And I just hope that our hosting tonight will really be productive and fruitful, because this is our intention. Every part of us is an important piece of a puzzle, and we have to recognize each one of us is also important. But how do we work collaboratively? How do we in sync, create that kind of synergy across the world? And we are well represented. If you just said that, Sinto, we're from everywhere. Imagine the impact that we are going to create. It doesn't have to be big, When you create a ripple, there's always a ripple effect, no matter how small it is at the beginning. But you will be surprised what kind of tidal wave, a big wave of change we could bring the world. So once again, thank you so much, and have a good day to everyone.
Thank you very much, Cecilia. To be honest, this is one of the most inspiring webinars that I attend. Not only from you, and exactly what you were saying today. I heard from another coach who was saying our job is really impact. If you impact just one person, imagine the domino effect that it can create when he will impact to another person and to another person to another person. So from my side, I don't know if everyone or someone wants to say something. Thank you, Cecilia, for this experience together. And I know that it will not be the best, the last, so and it will be even the best. So thank you very much, Cecilia. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much to attend, and see you in the next one. It will be 26th of November. I'm a little bit out of time. 26th of March. It will be a Thursday, and it will talk about the secret magic of the global disc in game role. It will be incredible. I want to see you there, right? It will just connect with us in LinkedIn, connect with us in the website. You have our chat here. So thank you very much. That's Global Disc in Action, and we will see you soon.
Okay, thank you, Cecilia. Thank you,
Welcome. Thank you too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Good night in Asia.
Good night.
Good day, Europe. Thank you, Sinto. That was awesome. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. It's incredible. It's that days that you say, wow. It's worth everything. Priceless.
Yeah,
very good.
Thank you, Sinto and Cecilia, because also we as young, we need people like you who want to take care of us and want to listen to our opinion. It's really important.
You're our future leader, Davide. We have to take care of you.
I think that
I will try to honor this trust at the best of my possibility.
For that.
Let me tell you that I always said that next week I have to start with the leaders, and the youngest one that is a new change management is 32 years, and I'm so happy and so glad, because now with this team that I'm working, they are all between 50 plus. So it will be very difficult that they share in a webinar their thoughts, how you did it. So as I tell you, and I tell you with all my heart, as you are saying it, there is no scripts here. Everything is kind of improvised. It comes from the inside out. We have a lot to learn from you guys, and you don't have to be shy to say it, because wow, you are full of knowledge, and it's good to take it out.
Yep.
Thank you. Well, if from your side you can make more other adults, okay, we are also adults, but more over 30 adults to be willing to listen to us, to give us responsibility, give responsibility, teach accountability to new generations.
It's now your turn, Davide, to create ripples. That's
This
your
is-
responsibility.
This is our Together's mission.
Yes,
Exactly.
collaboratively, together. All right,
Okay, guys.
Yeah. Have a good day.
See you.
Bye-bye, guys. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you
Thank you, Leo.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Keep in touch in WeChat.
Yes. WeChat.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Very good. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.